Well, there is our ending. And we're getting the credits, I presume. Um, the first thing first, I'm fairly sure some of those were contradictory. Oh yeah, it was the Kings, wasn't it? The Kings maintained an independent free side, but explicitly it said the NCR took over and annexed free side. One of the first one of the first slides. Now I get that the game is there's lots of different potential outcomes, but it does seem like you do each place individually, rather than the NCR took over. All of the Mojave, or say most of the Mojave, because then that gives you the flexibility of this place doesn't count. So yeah, some of those didn't work. It did seem like the side quests actually impacted that, and I think there might have been some there that I didn't. There might have been some there that were quests I didn't know. Oh, the Powder Gangers. I don't know if there was a quest about them. The only one I didn't. The only quest there were two quests I didn't do that I had, and neither of them were mentioned. So I'm happy with that. Mechanically, it's basically Fallout 3. Having said that, I think the reputation system is superior to the straight karma system of the first game. Sorry, not the first game. The fifth game, if you count if you count Tactics and Brotherhood of Steel. But the Fallout 3, you've just got straight, are you good, are you bad? Whereas in this one, there's a lot more kind of, what does this group think of you? What does that group think of you? And I think I like that. I think some of them don't really do anything. So the White Glove Society. I did the quest there. Oh, I'm idolized, and then I left and never had, and that was never relevant again. I think they kind of shrank it too much. They kind of were a bit too kind of granular in it, and I think it would have been good if certain characters had reacted to you differently based on what your reputation was with different groups. But then again, that might make things too complex. I like that in theory there are four different. I think there are four different groups you can go with, so you have more control of what the story is. Certainly, what the conclusion is, because there's NCR and Legion as the obvious ones. Then there's House, but there's also Yes Man and kind of going out on your own. So there's more options, so different people get to tell a slightly different story. It would be interesting to see kind of what the sequel would be. DLC. We didn't do DLC. Maybe another time. Maybe we'll go to we'll go to the DLC another time. What was I talking about? Endings. Oh yeah, what happens next? It'd be interesting to see. It does seem that Bethesda likes the East Coast, because in Fallout 3 it's Washington DC, and then I think Fallout 4 is Boston, kind of the south end of New England. Is Massachusetts New England? I think it is. Whereas yeah, it's like the base games of the first games were all out to the west. 1 and 2 were kind of California-y, and then obviously here we're more Colorado, Nevada. So yeah, Colorado River, and we're in Nevada with Paradise and everything. So it'd be interesting to see where the kind of next one is. There's part of me that's I'm kind of intrigued about the Great Khans being out in the Northwest, because the Northwest hasn't been done, the Southeast hasn't been done. But then again, it'd be kind of interesting to see the Fallout world in other parts of the world. Because we've seen, we know a bit about China and what happened with them in the war. We know what happened with large swathes of the US, the main game. It'd be interesting to maybe see a different continent. Like a continent that we've not really thought about. That would be interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's... I think... I was going to say it's Fallout 3, but it's not. I think this is better than Fallout 3. Fallout... I mean, thinking about it narratively, Fallout 3 is a more focused narrative. It starts with Revelation 21:6 talking about the waters of life. And midway through, you have your father sacrifice himself to protect the waters of life so that the Enclave can't get control of it. And then ultimately, not including Broken Steel, you then sacrifice yourself, or not, but I think the idea of the story is that you then sacrifice yourself to give the water to the capital wasteland. Whereas I think then they were like, oh, we have to give people a choice. So yeah, you can get other people to you can get someone else to sacrifice themselves. And I think here they wanted it to be more open-ended, which is kind of what the original Fallouts were like. So I think that works. I think it works better as a Fallout game. Fallout 3 seems to want to be its own thing, but also is like, ooh, I have to have this thing because this is a Fallout thing. So so you've got the Brotherhood of Steel that don't quite act like the Brotherhood of Steel. You've got the Enclave for whatever reason. Oh, there's Jeremiah 29:11. Interesting Bible reference. And then you've got super mutants, which, yeah, I don't think. I mean, there's a reason why they're there, and they are different because they're not intelligent, but there's still that kind of. Yeah, it feels like they've included things because they feel like they have to, rather than including them because they fit in the story. It's, oh, these are Fallout things, therefore we need them. And so I think that's another reason why I kind of... Oh, Michael Dawn! Wow. I think that's another reason why I like the idea of a different part of the world. René Auberjonois, however you say his name. So this is... We're learning this is actually just one of Quark's Holosuite adventures on Deep Space Nine. But I think... Lanius? He had a line. He had lines, apparently. Oops. But I think if there were more things around, if we went to a different continent, you're not as kind of attached to all of these various things. We're not as connected to all the various things in the how to word this. We're not as attached to all the stuff that is Fallouty, and you've got room to do your own thing. So yeah, I think... Yeah, so Fallout 3 versus Fallout New Vegas, I think this is the better game because there's more flexibility, more choice, it's more open. And yes, there's an open world, but even though there's a broad storyline, kind of you have your own kind of different ending. Whereas I think from what I've seen of Skyrim, I've not played it to completion, but I've seen a few things of it, the ending is pretty much always the same, no matter what you do. Oblivion, same thing. And so it does seem like the more Bethesda-style stuff is kind of, you get exactly the same ending up to that point. So yeah, I think I think this is better because of that. And I'm trying to think of what else to say, because it's mechanically Fallout 3, just with a few extra, it's built on the Fallout 3 stuff, but with differences. There was... what was it? There was a Caravan, the game. Played it once, didn't understand, haven't touched it since. Partly because it's like, in a game like this, I don't want to be kind of, in videos, I don't want to be constantly like just reading out rules for a game and then try it out and go, I don't understand it. In a game like this, it should be something that's simple to understand. Whereas I think they made it unnecessarily complicated. So yeah, trying to think of other things to say. Because you've got so side missions. I enjoyed them. I think that I'm trying to actually think of some that really. I think the companions. Let's go with the companions because they're more discernible. I liked Boone. His kind of basically PTSD and regrets from the Bitter Springs massacre coming out being his quest. I like that. Veronica wanting the Brotherhood to be better. We didn't do that much with Cass. Partly because we just got her quest straight away. But I did like her personality. Arcade, I think we spent the most time with, just because the quest just didn't trigger for a long time. So he was the person I travelled with the most. And he's not my favorite. He wasn't my favorite. I think Veronica was probably my favorite of the ones we got. I think I don't like the way the way their quests were handled, in that you had to have them travel with you and trigger for certain things, except for Cass for some reason. But for all the other humanoid ones, you had to travel with them for them to see things and react to things and them to do things. And it was just kind of... I think it would have been better if they had... If you could either have all of them come, or they would go, oh, hey, you did this thing. Or you could go and talk to them at midpoints and at certain points, and they'd go, oh, you did this thing, here are my thoughts on the matter. Or even, I'd like to go and see that, you go and see that, and then that triggers it. I think, yeah, it just felt a bit kind of... If you don't know that's how you get... If you don't know what the triggers are, I'm sure it happened, you can end up missing... you can end up missing things and just being like, I don't know how to... I haven't gotten this guy's quest because I didn't know how to trigger it, which I'm not a fan of. Now, I'm not saying that on a first playthrough you should be able to access all of the content, but I think that feels like you're kind of hiding it when you could easily have a conversation be, oh, you've done this thing, oh, right, well, blah 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 blah. So I wasn't a fan of that. Part of me is tempted to give a go to this. I assume there's a mod where you can get all the companions and just have them as a team. Although that would probably make a lot of the kind of fights really far too easy. So maybe not. And I think I'm running out of things to say. This was, I did really enjoy this. I think of all of the Fallouts, it's probably currently my favourite. It's probably the greatest. Yeah, I think it's probably the best of the ones I've done. Because I did 1, 2. I tried Tactics for a bit, and then I think it just didn't work. And then 3 in New Vegas. So yeah, I've enjoyed this one. I think the most. And I think partly it's the story. I think partly it's easier to get into than Fallout 1 and 2, which I think might just be the graphics and the fact it's isometric rather than kind of third person / first person. I think I kind of like that we didn't get power armor. Like partially because of Operation Anchorage, we ended up with power armor really early, or it felt like really early. It may have been like a third of the way, halfway through the Let's Play, whereas here it's like it's right at the end. I think it was this session we got it. Yeah, it was this session we got it. So it felt really tense. I liked that you can kind of make peace with everyone, but not necessarily. But there's still some problems, like with Mr. House. Although maybe I could have spoken to him and tried to get it to get resolved it that way. I don't know. So yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm kind of running out. Yeah, I'm definitely running out of things to say. I enjoyed the narrative. I liked the companions. Didn't like the way the companion quests worked. Yeah. I think it felt like the map was a bit smaller. And they had invisible walls, which I don't like invisible walls. Just make the cliffs proper. Like, actual stop you getting up. Like, if you don't want people going those ways. But yes, we will see what comes next. What do the Patreon backers vote on? We will find out next time. But we'll let these credits continue on with all the people who may or may not have worked on this game get their credit. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.